G5 Jeff TV. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Please share this video. Support your boy. Support good content at all times. This is the official breakdown and prediction video for Erislandy Lara versus Jarrett Hurd. This is a 154-pound title fight. Unification, I repeat. This is a unification fight. April 7th, 2018 in Vegas. And I'm excited to break down this fight. G5 Jeff TV is officially 9 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw in prediction videos. I got another prediction video up on the channel for Dillian White, Lucas Brown. Definitely go check that out. And I'm going to definitely try to keep the winning streak going with this one. Now, this fight, for it being a unification, for it being 2 very good fighters, once again, in the U.S., this fight is not getting the buzz that it's supposed to get. And again, I have boxing family on this channel that's not in the States. I don't even know how big this fight is over where you're at in your neck of the woods. But this is one of those fights that's flying under the radar. And I hate that it's not getting the credit that it deserves at the end of the day. But I'm going to break this fight down anyway. And I'm going to go about breaking down this fight a little differently than I've done with other prediction videos. Because I'm so familiar with both fighters, I'm basically going to be doing some freestyling here. Like, yes, I put the lab coat on. Yes, I went in the lab and refreshed my memory when it came down to certain fights with these guys. But it's a little different because with Erislandy Lara, I haven't really looked at anything recent. I haven't looked at anything recent. All of the fights that I wanted to look at were really old fights from Erislandy Lara. But I got to the same conclusion with Erislandy Lara. Jarrett Hurd, the fights that I wanted to look at with him were pretty fresh in my brain, but I just looked at highlights of those fights and just refreshed my memory a little bit. Now, this fight at 154 pounds, unification, first of all, you got to commend both guys because they sought each other out for this unification fight. And whenever you have a unification, you don't have to take a unification fight. You don't have to. It's optional. So these guys choosing to try to be great and fight each other is a great thing. Now, Erislandy Lara is arguably the top 154 pounder in the world. He's been the longest champion at 154 pounds out of all of the champions. And Erislandy Lara is a really, really good fighter. Cuban fighter, southpaw. And he's known for his defense. He's known for his movement. And offensively, he's known as like a tactician in the ring. And don't get me wrong, he is, but he's a tactician that got the same moves. Like, you ever met somebody that got the same dance moves on the dance floor? Like, that's Erislandy Lara. Like, he got the same dance moves. When it comes down to punch variety, Erislandy Lara is giving you the jab in the straight left hand. That's it. He's not doing any consistent body work. He's not going to sit in the pocket. He's not really throwing that many uppercuts. He's not starting his combinations off with hooks or uppercuts. Everything starts from that right jab. And he's giving you that jab, straight left hand, down the pipe. Don't get me wrong. It's a legendary jab, straight left hand. Don't get me wrong. But that's all he's giving you. He has absolutely no punch variety at all. He don't throw no 45s, nothing. And if you don't know what 45s is, it's kind of like a hook slash uppercut. Watch Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman throws those 45s and they nasty. They come from an awkward angle and they're nasty shots. And Erislandy Lara just doesn't throw any of them. You know, he's a dancer out there on the dance floor with the same dance moves. But, you know, He's made people look silly with them same dance moves. But the fights that I really looked at with Erislandy Lara was really two. I mean, I could have examined a bunch of other fights, but the two that I paid attention to was Alfredo Angulo and Canelo Alvarez. I paid attention to the Alfredo Angulo fight because that fight most resembles how a fight with Jarrett Hurd could go. He fought Alfredo Angulo. He did a lot of moving, played a lot of defense, a lot of pivoting out of the pocket. And Alfredo Angulo decided that he was going to eat Erislandy Lara shots and he was going to get his off. He was going to put the pressure on him and he was going to put some hands on Erislandy Lara. He ended up knocking Lara down twice in that fight. And luckily for Lara, he ended up hitting Alfredo Angulo with a shot directly on his eyeball and ended up breaking the orbital bone. Now, Alfredo Angulo, his trainer for that fight was Virgil Hunter, and after the fight, Virgil Hunter was like, Erislandy Lara thumbed him in the eye. And I don't know if a boxer can thumb somebody in the eye with thumbless gloves. I would have to refer that question to some people that have been in the ring before. I don't know if you're actually capable of thumbing someone in the eye, but you know, y'all let me know what y'all think about that. But he got out of that fight because he broke Alfredo Angulo's orbital bone. Who knows what would have happened if he wouldn't have done that? Alfredo Angulo might have fucked around and stopped Erislandy Lara. Who knows? But Erislandy Lara showed a lot of guts, a lot of heart in that fight and got the victory. In the second fight, Canelo Alvarez. That was a pay-per-view fight. He talked himself into that fight. And in life, you don't get too many chances to shine on the major stage. And Erislandy Lara, for someone that has no fan base, for someone that brings absolutely no money to the table, there's no real reason to fight Erislandy Lara. All risk, very little reward. He got the cash cow in the ring in Canelo Alvarez against Oscar De La Hoya and everything. And he talked himself into that fight, and he had his opportunity to shine and make himself a superstar. And let's just say he did a lot of moving. And he did more moving than throwing. Okay? And this is to my two big homies, my two big brothers, Terrence and Coop. We always have a running discussion on who actually won that fight. And I promise y'all I'm going to do a live stream with them too. And we're going to actually score that fight on a live stream and have that discussion on who really won that fight on the cards. But Erislandy Lara dropped the ball. That was a pay-per-view fight. And he did a lot of, me personally, at times he was doing a lot of intelligent boxing moving. And at times he looked like he was flat running. It was a blend of both. But it just didn't look good. It wasn't pleasing to the eye, and obviously it wasn't pleasing to that one judge. I had it 117, 111 for Canelo Alvarez. I thought that was a bad scorecard, but you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. And if you know Canelo Alvarez, he always got a judge in pocket. He always got a judge in pocket. And I don't know if he was, I don't know if he was vegan back then and he wasn't on the contaminated meat. But, that's neither here nor there. Those are the two fights that I paid attention to the most with Erislandy Lara. And when Erislandy Lara gets into the ring, you know what you're going to get. Jab, straight left hand, a lot of movement, a lot of defense. And it's basically, are you going to be able to stop him from hitting you with that 1-2 and basically moving around? And that's a system, that's an amateur type style. That's an amateur style. Like, that's when you are in the amateurs and you're you're fighting in a point system. That jab and straight left hand and a bunch of movement, that's gonna win you a lot of fights in the amateurs, and he's carried that over into the pros. That's exactly what Erislandy Lara does. And, you know, he's been successful all his career with it. So, moving on to Jarrett Swift Hurd. Jarrett Swift Hurd, he is a big 154-pounder. Pause. He is huge at 154 pounds. Like, he looks like a linebacker. He looks like a linebacker. And he is a very good fighter. And he's not polished technically. His punches come from odd angles. He does some things in the ring that's not traditional, but he makes the awkwardness work for him. He makes the awkwardness work for him. He punches in angles. He gives you different punch varieties. He throws at different speeds, different trajectories. He does a lot of subtle things in the ring. And I like what Jarrett Hurd brings to the table. And those subtle things that he does and the angles that he gives you, it gives his opponents problems. Take a Chino Maidana. Chino Maidana used to do that. He throw these chopping shots and he just throw absolutely everything at you, and the awkwardness work for him. Deontay Wilder is another guy that throw punches from everywhere. You don't know where he's throwing them from, but he makes the awkwardness work for him. And Jarrett Swift Hurd is the same way. Now, the two fights that I paid attention to with Jarrett Swift Hurd is Tony Harrison and Austin Trout. And I can explain both of those fights in one explanation. He was losing the Tony Harrison fight, and he made a decision during that fight that he was going to put the pressure on Tony Harrison, and he was going to get Tony Harrison up out of there. And Tony Harrison was winning the fight. He got lazy. He was on the move. He threw a jab. Jarrett Swift Hurd went over the top with a straight right hand, and it was night-night. Austin Trout was looking good. He was looking good through the first 6 rounds. At the very least, he was up 4-2. Some people might have had it 5-1 for Austin Trout versus Jarrett Swift Hurd. Swift Hurd was losing on the cards, and he made a decision in that fight that he was going to put the pressure on Austin Trout. He was going to put them hands on him, and he was going to see if he can take that heat, if he could take that smoke. And eventually, he wore Austin Trout down. Austin Trout couldn't take the pressure, couldn't take the shots, the accumulation, and got Austin Trout up out of there. And Austin Trout fought a very good fight, but he just couldn't handle the size and the pressure of Jarrett Swift Hurd. So this is really, really simple. Really simple. You had the jab, straight left hand, and the movement of Erislandy Lara. And you have the size, the pressure, and the punch variety and the angles that Jarrett Swift Hurd can give you. Now, this fight really comes down to one thing. When will Jarrett Swift Hurd decide that he's just going to eat Erislandy Lara's shots and he's going to track Erislandy Lara down? The later that he waits to do that, he's going to lose this fight on the cards. Point blank. Jarrett Swift Hurd is not going to win this fight on the cards. But if he decides early, maybe second, third, fourth round, that he's going to eat those shots and he's going to put the pressure on and track him down like Alfredo Angulo did, it's going to be a crazy fight. It's going to be a crazy fight. And I don't even need to say anything about Erislandy Lara because you know what you're going to get from him. G5 Jeff TV's prediction is Jarrett Swift Hurd is going to win this fight, and he is going to stop Erislandy Lara in the 11th round. He's going to stop Erislandy Lara TKO. Jarrett Swift Hurd is too big, and I do think he's going to decide to put the pressure on Erislandy Lara early, and he's going to be chasing around Erislandy Lara all night. But the difference is Jarrett Swift Hurd lets those hands go. He lets those hands go, and he will eat 2 shots to get his in. And I think he's big enough to absorb Erislandy Lara shots. And I think he had great preparation with the southpaw and Austin Trout. And Erislandy Lara has been stagnant in his career since the Canelo Alvarez fight. And his last 3-4 fights has been extremely boring. And he has not shown any evolution as a fighter, even though he's a good fighter. I like Jarrett Hurd, TKO, 11th round. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. G5 Jeff TV, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Please share this video. Support your boy. Support good content at all times. I appreciate y'all. Peace.